So, why am I here talking about today? I wanted to share my story with y'all and say that, hey, y'all can overcome. Y'all just started your journey. And this past week, I want to talk about something. This past week, I got the opportunity to go to the boundary waters. And I know you guys thought I was crazy when I brought this in here. Y'all know what this is? Anybody? It's a paddle, right? Yeah. So I know a lot of you guys came from different places, but here in Minnesota, people like the outdoors. They like the outdoors a lot, so much so people go to the boundary waters. So the boundary waters is far north, like Toffee, Minnesota is up there, past Ely, well it's west of Ely, I believe. You guys will go up there and play a game, you'll see how cold it is. It's really good. But anyways, I spent 6 days canoeing and camping. So, let me just paint a picture for you about the boundary waters, because it's going to make sense to you. There's about 1.3 million acres of land and water mass that you can play with. Like people go out there and have a ball. There's about 1,500 areas where you can canoe through the water. There's about 2,200 campsites. So within the boundary waters, there's these things called portages. And it's where there's a body of water, and there's another body of water, and then there's land. It's a portage. It gets you from one place to another. So you had to get out of your canoe and walk over here with all your stuff, all your gear. Well, I had a canoe that weighed 40 pounds. I had a bag that was like 10. I had another bag that was like another 30, depending, 30 or 40. So I'm double portaging. Double portaging means when you go down, you drop your stuff off, you go all the way back, you pick up more stuff, and you go all the way back. It was sometimes I was doing almost a mile, 2 miles, sometimes 3 miles. And anyways, the boundary waters taught me a valuable lesson when I was there, and I want to share it with y'all. So I want to talk about the boundary waters, a great parallel life, I think. You're going to learn a lot here in a second, at least I hope. I want to talk about 4 C's. And within these 4 C's, there's going to be 4 more C's. If you have a pen and pad, please write this down. First one.
Paper in your folder. Look on the right side under the pink sheet. Yeah. It looks like this. So you have the opportunity to write notes, whatever.
4 C's. Courage, commitment, community, and challenges. Courage, commitment, community, challenges. Courage. I first want to thank all of you guys for coming here today. Thank you for the courage of stepping out from Detroit, from all these different places you guys told me you're from, and having the courage to come to a place that is cold and far away from home. Thanks for coming. I know there's some people from Alabama here, Texas here. Thank you for the courage. One thing you have to understand in the boundary waters, you can't be afraid to get wet. You can't be afraid to work. It's a journey. And I just want to say thank you for starting your journey here. I hope you got your paddles ready, because you're gonna have to work. Next thing I understood within having courage is consistency. I remember when I first got in the canoe when I was rowing, and I seen how I had to stay at a steady pace in order to keep this canoe going. And as I was going, I remember if I got tired, I began to compensate. But I realized if I kept my core tight, I get a nice row. Coaches will tell you, everything starts with the core. I know you heard it about 100 times. Everything starts with the core, and it's true. It's the same thing in life. If you look at psychology, it's the study of the mind and behavior, right? Well, the root word sight is actually soul. It's the core of who you are. The core of who you are. It's where your belief system is, it's where your passions are, and it's where your desires are. The core of who you are. If you know who you are, the core of who you are, you don't have to worry about compensating through life. So if you're figuring that out, have a great idea of who you are. A lot of times it's going to be crowds that you're going to be following, which I'm going to talk about. But the first thing I want you to understand within your courage of stepping out is having a strong core. Next is commitments. And commitments, you got to ask yourself, what are you chasing? Pokemon Go? Girls? What are you chasing? What are you here for? This is Rochester Community Technical College. You came here to get an education. Commitment number one. You didn't come here to play football. You came here to get an education. I want you guys to be out of here in 2 years. 2.5 max. You came here to get an education. That's why you came here. Remember that. All of you guys. Girls and you. And within commitments, you have to count the cost. There's going to be a cost, guys. There's going to be early morning workouts. There's going to be a cost. It's going to cost you something to this. Don't think it's going to be easy. Count the cost. It's going to be difficult. There's going to be times where you're not going to know, you're going to be tired, not going to want to do anything. The next thing you need to know about commitments is you have choices. You have a choice to either be lazy or work hard. I remember when I was running and the portages, it was time when I got out of the canoe and I'm walking and I rolled my ankle. It was like a slight roll. And I had a lot of stuff on my back. So I had a choice. I could take some of the stuff off my back and then walk over. It would take me longer, but it was safer. You guys have choices. Do the safer route. Don't be hanging out with people that want to stay out till 3 o'clock in the morning. Is that part of your commitments? Write your commitments down. Graduate. I want to fly mom and pops out of here. I want them to see me walk across that stage. Write them down. Put them down tangibly. The next one is community. Within community, you're going to need a confidant. A confidant. Someone that you can confide in. Friends. You're going to have a group of people. My confidant was Robert Butler. When I was here, people know who Robert Butler is. When I was here, we were always together. And we encouraged each other. We pushed each other. We kept each other on the straight and narrow. We challenged each other. You know what? Within community too, he also told me about myself. He told me my crap. Things that I was messing up on, things that were causing me to not focus. He would tell me these things. But I could trust him because I knew he was on my team. And also within commitments, you have to have communication. In community, you have to have communication. The first day when I was out there and I was rowing, I remember I was rowing with a buddy of mine, and we were all out of whack. And we're over here rowing, and we're going like this. We're wasting a lot of energy because we didn't have good communication. You need to be in communication with your teachers. You need to be in communication with your coaches. You need to be in communication with those that are on your team. Not just on your team. I'm talking about those in the back that want to see you succeed. Going to the learning center. Going to places where you can get help. There's also there's groups on campus that you can go to. There's all kind of groups. Choose one. All I say is this: be around people with like-minded. There's a lot of people that are not here and not chasing what you want to chase. They're here for games. Don't let that be you. And then the last one is challenges. And within challenges, all the things I just said, challenges are woven in. But one thing about challenges, they create character. And character is a good thing. It's what you're made of. It helps the core of who you are. Within challenges, you have to understand there's going to be conflicts. I remember the first day when I went out again, I wanted to go on the back, and you have more space when you're in the back of the canoe. If you guys ever been in one And I'm back there, and the guy who was in front of me, he's yelling at me. He's like, "Oh, like, you don't know how to steer," and I didn't. But I was like, I didn't want to be in the front, so I didn't know how to steer. But I'm apologizing. I'm like, come on, man, like, give me a chance. Like, I got it. Like, I'm working on it. And so we get to the first portage and we switch. And so this conflict is showing us something. This challenge is showing us something. Then he goes in the front. I go in the front, he goes in the back. And what challenges will do oftentimes, it will show you your strengths and weaknesses. I get in the front and I'm rowing, like I was, and we're going in circles. Because I'm way stronger than the guy. So I just found out my strength is, I'm in the front trying to let him steer, but he wasn't able to. So we switched again, and he was really good at looking at the map. So he looked at the map, and while he was looking at the map, I could row. We had all our stuff in the canoe, and we learned our strengths and weaknesses. Guys, know your strengths and weaknesses. And let challenges humble you. Let challenges humble you. And within this, today's my birthday. It's turned 26. And one of my weaknesses to this day is spelling. My name's Cotorey. Says, what is it? A meeting that the first step of overcoming something is admitting you have a problem, right? My name's Cotorey Sills, and I got through college through spell check. Spell check got me through college. Now, I say that, and I want you to understand your weakness, because in your weakness you have something to work on. I don't want you to know your weakness and you be like, oh man, look at me, man, I'm not good at this area. There's people that want to help you, but you gotta be real with yourself and be like, man, I'm not good in this area. I'm good at speaking, I'm good at writing, but I was a horrible speller. No, I'm dyslexic, that's fine. But I'm not gonna let that stop me. Sometimes you're gonna have insecurities, but don't let your insecurities stop you from continuing to go forward. You know what I'm saying? So within this, strengths and weaknesses, I want you to fully know what they are, is for you to have something to work on. We're all gonna have something to work on, guys. Ladies. It's just, you have something to work on, and that's okay. But embrace that. Don't embrace it again to be like, man, this is me. But embrace it as you have something to push you forward. And the last one I want to talk about is constructive criticism. You guys coming from schools, y'all were the man. Y'all were balling out. Y'all played 5 positions. Coach didn't tell you nothing. I want to tell you something. You better learn how to take constructive criticism. Learn how to let somebody speak into your life without getting offended. We live in a culture where everybody's hypersensitive. Don't touch me. Let stuff go. You're going to be around 60, 70, 80 guys. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be around a lot of people. On your team, learn how to let stuff go. Like I said, challenges are woven all throughout these things. So I have Robert Butler, who one day he checks me, he's like, he tells me about myself. He tells me my crap. He's like, hey man, you're doing this. You need to stop doing that. I know that Robert is my confidant and he's on my team, so I listen and take heed to what he is saying. Take heed to what your coach is saying. Take heed to what your other players are saying. You know what I mean? Embrace that. Don't be quick to be like, nah, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear this. You know what I'm saying? Y'all understand? Awesome. So what have I been talking about? I like this guy. He's on it. I've been talking about dreaming in the midst of adversity, in the midst of hardship. Life's about hardship. The Boundary Waters was hard, fellas. 6 days I'm over here carrying other people's stuff. You know, sometimes you just have to do stuff you're not always going to want to do. But if you have an end goal, if you know your commitments, you have the courage to get through it. If you have a strong core, it will get you through. And you'll be out of here in 2.5 years, 2 years. Depending on you. Depending on you. So that's all I really wanted to say to you guys.